And welcome to the CSS podcast. I'm your host, Dave Wolfers. The gentleman in the middle is Charlie Crawley, and the gentleman on my right, your left, is my son, Sam Wolfers. Today is episode number 83, and it's titled "The Greatest What Ifs in Cincy Sports History." So we'll be getting to that in a little bit in our topic of the week. But before we do, we always like to say welcome and thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on any of the podcasting platforms, but we also want you to, if you like it, hit that like and subscribe button. That helps us out a little bit, and allows us to interact with our fans, and they can get us some ideas for our topic of the week and things like that. So before we get into the week that was, gentlemen, how was last week for you?
It was fine. Can't really complain about anything. So.
It was a week coming back from spring break, so that's always interesting week to get back into. So we got through it, and now we get the eclipse tomorrow. The world ends tomorrow about 3:12 around here. So we will. This may be the last podcast.
Yep. Those of you that are traveling into Ohio, please don't. I got practice at 3, being the dummy that I am. Scheduling for the eclipse. I'm going to hit fly balls into the sun, see if I can find it. So
that really probably is not a smart decision. You might have half your team where their eyeballs burn out.
Yeah. We're actually going at 4, so it'll be over. But I don't know if they'll be able to get there just because of traffic. And Hamilton, the city of Hamilton, issued a notice to all businesses that, hey, you might have extra people in your parking lot on Monday. And the city of Oxford said, if you are not traveling to see the eclipse, don't go out. Just stay home. So they're expecting a lot of people to come through the area, and I'll have to deal with it. That's what happens when you're a head coach. All right. Moving forward here on the week that was, we're going to start with the Cincinnati 11, and we're not talking about the Bengals. We're talking about FC Cincinnati losing a heartbreaker to Red Bull of New York 2-1 last night. Anybody have any comments? FC jumped out early, 1-0, but they just, their defense couldn't hold up, and they're attacking. They couldn't score anymore. So you guys got any more insight than that? How about it?
Yeah, it was a bit disappointing to lose that way because that was kind of the recipe that we had been talking about that they're going to have to win games, get out to an early lead and just kind of hunker down. But it did not work out for them yesterday. New York is a good team. They're going to be a playoff team. So, it's not like they lost to a poorly coach team or anything like that. New York's pretty good. But yeah, they've just got to figure out something with their attack because they've got just nothing going for them. It's tough to even watch them sometimes.
Yeah, it's what we've been saying. The max is going to be 2 goals they're going to score, and this time they only got 1, and that wasn't enough. Unfortunately for Red Bulls, Frankie Amaya scored the second goal, or maybe it was the first goal, and he was the former FC Cincinnati first round pick, and kind of a thorn in the FC Cincy side these days, and kind of like it's a little bit like Brandon Vasquez scoring the goal against FC Cincinnati. So. Yeah, Red Bulls have kind of been definitely been a thorn in the side in the FC world. So, but yeah, I agree with Sam. Until they figure out the offense. Pat Noonan said that was the worst game they've played all year. They just couldn't do much anything. So they're a little, they're in some struggle area. The good news is even as much as they're struggling, they only have only one overall loss in MLS. So. Not like they can't come out of it, but there hasn't been signs. So it was at the 7th game, I think, in the league, and the offense, has not had a burst yet. Not even the games they won. So I don't know if you can all of a sudden snap your fingers and you're going to get 4 or 5 goals in a game.
No, know, who do they have coming up? What's their schedule?
Montreal, I believe. I think they're at Montreal.
At Montreal. Okay. Well, you know, I mean, yeah, we have talked about it ad nauseum on the podcast here since FC started, and scoring their defense, you know, giving up 1 or 2 goals a game, but they got to be able to put the ball in the back of the net a little more frequently. And you know, losing some of the players they lost this year, it really hurts them for that, and they haven't had the replacements yet.
Yeah, Red Bulls are actually in first
on the
right now.
offensive side of the ball, so
Over,
we'll see what they can do.
overall.
They are okay.
Yeah,
Overall.
they have 14 points, and
So
Montreal is in 11th place. They have 7 overall. Cincinnati's 12.
okay, well, we need to. Hopefully, we can get some more points and move up the ladder to defend the cup.
Need some goals.
Anything else? Need some goals.
Missing our goalie.
Yeah,
they had to play with a backup keeper.
Yeah, but he made a great save. But you know, on a penalty kick, so wasn't bad, or a free kick, or whatever you want to call it at that time. All right, moving on. Before we get to the Reds, Final Four, both men's and women's, great games on the women's side. UConn and Iowa. There's a lot of little controversy there, but I don't know how much of a controversy it is if you actually, you know, saw the screen. It was an illegal screen, and I guess the controversy is you don't call it in that situation, but I don't know. Paige may not have made a basket there, so we just don't know about that. And then the Boilers have one more game to go, and you know, I'm rooting for them hard. It's going to be a tough road against UConn, but hey, the eclipse is tomorrow. Purdue can win the national championship. So, you know, that's
Right.
that's
once a millennium event.
Exactly. So, hey, you know, might as well. You know, the world will stop if that happens. So, any thoughts on the Final Fours?
Well, the question would be, who is if you had to put $1,000 your own money, which underdog are you taking, Purdue or Iowa? Because they're both pretty significant underdogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take Purdue.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Purdue also. But I mean, if Caitlin Clark gets hot, I mean, there's
they
no
beat them
telling,
last year,
you know.
so
And they did beat South Carolina last year. Yep, that's true.
But I think South Carolina is, you know, that revenge factor.
Yeah, that may make it harder. They beat them last year.
Right, exactly. So that's why I'm going with Purdue. You know, because, you know, if you look at yesterday's game, I mean, Edie only shot 2 free throws the entire game, and they still won by 13. Now, their outside shots, Lance Jones was hitting early. Braden Smith played.
He played terrible.
Like dog poo.
Yeah.
You know, Fletcher hit a couple big shots. You know, Kaufman Wren stepped up a little bit. You know, I mean, the big matchup, you know, DJ Burns. It was Burns? Is that his name? DJ Burns?
Yeah.
Because they got another DJ too. Yeah. You know, and Edie going at each other. And, I mean, Burns couldn't even get 6 minutes in the game. He needed a blow. And I mean, it wasn't the matchup that people thought. So Edie's just, I think he's too big. He's too strong. Now, it does worry me. I watched a little bit of that UConn game last night, and, you know, they got a 7-2 guy, and he's pretty agile. I mean, he gets up and down the floor well, and he moves pretty good. He's very athletic, so that could be an issue. And then UConn's guards, I think, well, I mean, might give Purdue guards a little, you know, Braden Smith, he's got to pull his head out, or else it's going to be a long night. That's my take on that.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you. UConn's guards are a lot bigger than Purdue's guards. I mean, I know they were doing the announcing the lineup or whatever. They said Lawyer was 6'4". I don't think that dude's anywhere close to 6'4". And if he is,
He
he's only
might be.
$160. He's
Well,
he's
yeah, that's
not
true.
very big.
He's not very. No, he's not.
Whereas I think like
He's,
every one of
he's
UConn's guards is 6'4", 6'5". So I mean,
yeah.
they're
Yeah,
much
because Lance
overall.
Jones is
They're
only like
just a bigger.
6'1".
He's like 6'1". Braden Smith's not even 6 foot. So
No,
I mean,
he's
they're
not.
they have Edie, so their team height. They seem like a tall team, but outside of Edie and I mean, Edie's really the only rotation player with any height. I mean, Kaufman Rand's
Right.
not any big. Mason Gillis isn't that big. So, I mean, he doesn't play first anymore. First was like 6'9", 6'10", or whatever. So,
Yep.
but yeah, I mean, they're outside shooting. I think Purdue has the edge there. I think they're going to have to continue just to hit threes. They're going to have to make 12 to 15 threes, I think, to beat UConn.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
It is a lot, but I
Yep,
think that's what they're going to
yep.
have to do. Because I think
Or
Klingon will be the
get big
best.
guys in
Yeah, if he gets in foul trouble.
get
But
in foul trouble.
I mean, the refs, the first game, I mean, they were
Poorly
clearly on
pathetic.
social media the whole week before because, I mean, dude, it was bad. They did not want to call a foul on Edie. And, I mean, those were fouls in prison leagues. Like, those were fouls, and they were not blowing the whistle.
Well,
and the announcers aren't,
so.
Grant Hill is probably the worst college basketball announcer there is. He's not going to say anything negative. I mean, it would have been nice for them to, when they're, Edie's having trouble turning the ball over today, and then they show a replay and he's getting hit on the forearm and the dude's literally pulling his arm off the ball.
Middlebrooks is hooking them and drive, but hey, they won, so they overcame it. And they move forward. So it'd be a good game. My only beef is 9:20 tip. Are you freaking kidding me?
They always do that. It's so dumb.
I mean, now they have, yes, but I mean, gosh, I remember. I mean, I'm dating myself, but in '85, right? Villanova, Georgetown for the championship at Rupp Arena, it was 8 o'clock tip over by 9:30.
Yeah, and I don't get why they do it because they do it for the West Coast, but the West Coast doesn't care about college basketball. So what are you doing? Like they're
right.
The West Coast isn't going to watch it anyways. Tip this thing
Well,
off at 7 o'clock.
The only caveat to that is it's in the West Coast this year. The game itself.
Well,
I don't. So who cares?
Well,
for people
that are in Phoenix who went to the game, they do care.
Well,
so.
most of the
they're not working.
It
doesn't matter.
Purdue,
they're not.
I mean, Purdue had a great team
at work. They all traveled in.
Yeah, I know. It's just like this.
It's not locals that go to these
8 o'clock,
things. So
and let's go.
But it is for the West Coast. You're gonna watch it at 9:20 or at 8 o'clock. I wish it was at 8 o'clock too, but they're still doing it at 9:20. They're still doing it for the West Coast. So
I mean, if it was any other team,
if you're gonna watch, you're gonna watch it. Yeah, at 9:20, you're gonna watch it.
Yes,
and then they're counting on that
this year.
And they're gonna get more people to watch it on the West Coast.
Last year, nope, did not watch. Next year, probably won't watch. So it's,
I mean, I watch it every year, so it doesn't matter who's playing or what time. So
I don't. It's too late. Oh well. All right. Let's move on to the Reds. So they had the Phillies. They traveled into Philadelphia. Took 2 or 3 from the Phillies. Another series victory. And then they're coming back here to the Mets, and it looks like they're going to lose their first series unless they have another rally. But, they lost Friday night, which was a miserable game as far as attending. It was cold. Hunter Green actually pitched pretty well. Benj and I were there, and we were talking about, come on, he's got to get out of the 4th. Can he get through the 5th? And because he was at like 80 some pitches, going into the 5th, and this is after he walked like 2 batters and they scored and scored that run to make it 1-1. And we just faltered. Ellie, bases loaded in the 7th, bottom of the 7th, 2 outs, and took 4 pitches, 3 of them strikes. Didn't get the bat off his shoulder in that situation, and they rallied in the 9th, and they just couldn't do it. And then yesterday, they came back again, rallied, and Spencer Steer, the guy is just a ball player, and and today, can't hit good pitching right now. So
left-hander again.
Yeah, another lefty, right? And that's the thing.
That's the issue is they can't hit left-handed pitching, good or bad. Right. And Chaminade has not been very good the last couple of years. So
no. All right. So thoughts on the Reds? What we're looking at, what we got to change here. I know it's only 9 games, but it's starting to feel like urgency is sitting in.
Well, I kind of went through the different groupings and, I guess I could have given them like kind of a grade, but maybe we do that next week. But, to me, the starting pitching has been pretty good. If you look at the ERA leaders on the team, like all 5 starting pitchers are in the top 7 of ERA so far. Now it's only been 1 or 2 starts, but still, I mean, the bullpen guys have only been out there, at most 3 or 4 times. So, but I would say starting pitching has been above average. Bullpen's been probably average at best. Lexus Diaz is a struggle, and that's a problem because they rely on him so much. And TJ Antone just went out of the game a few minutes ago. He came in. I don't know if he even threw a pitch, and he came out. So I don't know what his deal is. They had to bring Suter in, so I didn't have the volume on, so I don't know what they were saying. Hitting's been inconsistent. They got guys hitting well, but it's just not enough of them. They got too many 100 hitters in there. They, as I said before we got on here, you give Avid very little chance when you run Bubba Thompson and Stuart Fairchild out there, 2 of your starting outfielders. I mean, sheesh. I mean, come on. So you're really handicapping. And Espinal's hitting about a $120, Maley's $160 or something. So hitting's just too inconsistent right now. And then the fielding has been bad. Yes. Defensively bad, atrocious. So you mix those 2 together and you get about a 500 team. And what are they right now? 5-3 with, if they lose this, 5-4. So there's what I see.
Yeah, for me, the biggest thing is their ability to not hit left-handed pitching. I thought that would have been something that they could have done. I mean, but I guess if you look at their lineup, their best hitters outside of Steer are all lefties, and none of them can hit lefties, I guess. So, I mean, they don't really even get the opportunity. Benson's not in the lineup today. Fraley wasn't in the lineup today. So when you do that, you've got Bubba Thompson, who can't hit righties or lefties. And then you got Stu, who doesn't even know how many outs there are. So, I mean, that's tough. And, I mean, Stu's hitting 5th today. I mean, that.
Yeah, he was hitting 5th on Friday, too. Yeah.
All right. So that's a problem. If Stu's in, he should be 8th or 9th. I don't. He should not be hitting 5th ever. So yeah, I mean,
but that tells you your lineup right now.
Yeah,
when you're running him out 5th, or David Bell. Too much Tinkerbell.
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably 80% personnel and then 20% David Bell on that, because he's. Oh, you know what? If the fear of Ellie hitting behind him, I'm sorry, no left-handed pitcher is scared of Ellie De La Cruz right now. They're just not. He's probably the guy that they actually want to face more than anybody else, because he can't hit lefties either. So, I mean,
they pitch around Stewart to get to Ellie. That's sad.
Yeah. So, I mean, and Stu's not taking advantage of it. So,
nope.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
that to me is what, they need to look at, is addressing that. I mean, I've seen some chatter. JD Martinez is still out there. I mean, that's another guy who can't feel anything.
I thought he was with the Mets.
I don't think so. I thought I saw he was still out there. Did he?
He got picked up by the Mets, unless they released him or something. But he was picked up by the Mets and sent to AAA to start the season.
Okay, I didn't see that. Yeah. So maybe that's why I didn't.
Just to get some at bats.
Gotcha. Well, that takes that idea off the table then. But I don't know. I think they need somebody that can hit lefties, because I mean, I guess McLean, but he's I don't know when he's coming back. End of the year at best.
September.
McLean, Marte, and Frito are the guys that hit lefties.
Right.
There's your
And-
3 hitters.
Yeah.
That might be your 1, 2, and 3 hitters, literally against the left-handed
Yeah.
hitters. Your first, second, and third
Right.
in the order.
Yeah.
Well, here's a stat for you. Stat of the day. So there are four Reds hitters in the lineup right now who are batting less than 200, and they're not named Stuart Fairchild and Bubba Thompson. So that tells you how bad this lineup is today. So.
Ooh. That is bad. That is bad.
4.
Well, the only, maybe the Rally Reds can come in and, the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, and what is the score right now? I don't have
3-1 still. 3-1, bottom of the 6th.
still, bottom of the 6th. So we got plenty of time to make our.
I mean, Abbott again kept him in the game. He's not a all-star right now, but he's his first 2 starts have been rough at the beginning, and then he settles in. But 3 runs in 5 innings, you're in the game.
Yep, you're in the game. So hopefully they can stay in the game and get a run here, get a run there, and then win it in dramatic fashion again. So yeah, then and have the off day on Monday, and then Milwaukee comes into town. I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for them. I think it's a 3-game series. Let me just double check that.
Sounds right.
3, 2,
No,
1
actually,
Thursday.
Milwaukee. Yeah, they actually here on Monday. They're Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
That is a 4-game set.
Thursday. So it's a 4-game series. So it's a big
Oh.
4-game series.
Already.
I thought they would be off, but it's a big 4-game series, and we need to make some hay in the division, because right now, Pittsburgh is a surprise of the division, and I know we've been saying, that's Pittsburgh, they'll fall back, but if O'Neal Cruz stays healthy, I mean that
Yeah, I
could
mean,
be a
well,
scary team.
We said the Central was going to be a bloodbath, and we kind of figured, that 87 to 90 mark. But right now, every team in the Central is above 500. So, I mean, that's
Now
the
they
definition of a
haven't played each
bloodbath.
other,
So,
so
It's also
yeah,
surprising.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
very
that
surprising.
is surprising. So,
All right. Anything else for the good of the order for the Reds here? Let's get down to the ballpark. Like Crawley said, Tuesday is
3, 2, 1 Tuesday.
Yep. So
well, I saw something with Friedel that they're hoping for the end of this month. I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
yeah, I
so.
did see that. That he's
I would think he'd go to AAA for a few games.
yeah.
I would think so.
Maybe
yeah.
even single A, just to get some at bats there, and then move on up, because Dayton's a little closer than Louisville, but so yeah, hopefully he is back, and that'll help a little bit. And this hopefully India's, and he got pelted on the wrist today. Hopefully that doesn't turn into anything, because
Yeah, Anton threw 1 pitch.
one
That
pitch
came out.
All right. Well,
he's probably done.
yeah, that's not good. Yeah.
Nope. So he'll probably. That's a shame. I guess I'll have to bring up
Santion, I would bring him up.
Santion, yeah.
Santion.
I think Chabot's about ready.
Oh, yeah, Chabot.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd be there
Chabot's
first.
Yeah, and then Lodolo comes
on the
off
10th. So, I mean,
on
what's the 10th? Wednesday?
So, yeah. Yes.
Is he
Thursday.
come off the 10th, or is he going to pitch the 10th? Or is that the same day? Does it matter?
I would think he'd come off and pitch the same day, because why would you
Right.
make him available and not pitch, take a spot with
I
him
thought
not
I saw
pitching?
that
Okay,
he's
yeah.
coming off the 11th. That's what
The 11th
I
now.
I saw the 11th now.
Okay. So it'd be a
I don't know if
Thursday.
it's because of the weather or what, but the 11th, and then I mean they do need somebody to bring up in the meantime if Antone is gone. So then once Lodolo comes, then you got a choice to make.
Yeah, on the
Put
starting pitching.
Martinez, in the bullpen, or send somebody else down and keep Martinez in the starting rotation. Don't know. That's for Tinkerbell and everybody else to figure out. So we'll just have to wait and see. And hopefully, the Reds can take the series from Milwaukee and creep up towards second place right now. All right. Anything else for the good of the order for the week that was? Nothing in Bengals land, I assume. I didn't see anything. Probably won't until 2 weeks from now when we do our draft special. And there'll be a lot of chatter about who they're going to do at 18. But until then, we're going to move on to our trivia. And once again, if you would like to participate in the trivia, you can do it one of two different ways. You can either email us at csspodcast@yahoo.com, or you can send us an instant message on Instagram, Twitter, or here on YouTube. If you're live, you can just put it right into our the chats. So up until then, last week I had the question, and I'll review it. We were talking opening day shortstops for the Reds. There have been 7 different Reds shortstops the last 7 years to start on opening day. How many can you name? And you guys named 6 of the 7. So it was De La Cruz, Barrero, Farmer, Suarez, Glavis, Iglesias, and you could not get on the show. You couldn't get it until afterwards, and it was Jose Peraza. So those were your 7 that started 7 consecutive opening day games here in Cincinnati. All right, I think
Next year we'll probably have a new one too. So
yeah, probably will.
Might be McLean next year.
That's what I was thinking. Yep.
Yeah.
Ellie will be our starting center fielder next year.
Center or right?
Yeah.
Probably right field with that arm.
I got trivia for me. Trivia time.
Yep, I think you got the trivia. Yep, trivia time.
Okay. So I'm going with this one with a lot of confidence that you guys are going to get it, but it's still a fun one. So since we're talking Final Four, it's Final Four time right now, which, by the way, we're almost the end of the first quarter. Iowa's up 4. So Caden Clark has 15 in the first quarter. So, the trivia question: since 1970, 6 men's basketball teams west of the Mississippi River have won the championship. Who are they?
UCLA.
UCLA's 1.
Arizona.
It's 2.
Baylor.
Yeah, that's 3.
Kansas.
There's 4.
How many? You said 7?
6.
6. Kansas. Since 1970. UNLV.
Yep.
It's 5.
Wasn't Memphis. That'd be east, still the Mississippi.
See, because Texas hasn't won one, I don't think.
Texas A&M, did they win? Or Texas Tech or something like that? No, with Buzz Williams or something like that when they had that real good defense.
Texas Tech went to a Final Four. So they made the championship game.
I think they played Virginia, maybe.
Yeah, I think
in the final.
I think you're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Since 1970, it wasn't San Francisco. even though they did win.
San Francisco. I think Oregon won like in the 40s also.
They did.
Yeah.
48. I think they won the very first one.
It's funny. You guys are missing the same one, exact same one I missed.
Really?
Yeah.
Not Marquette.
No, they haven't
Mississippi
won
Starks
one.
and
It
Marquette
starts
won
in
one.
like Minnesota, so
Al McGuire.
Yeah, Al McGuire.
let's see. Iowa State went no. Nebraska no. Oklahoma no. Not Oklahoma State either.
State, no, they think. That'll give us about
Oklahoma
another
played
minute.
Kansas in the finals, the Danny Manning final.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think none of the Colorado schools, a Utah school, Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming.
Did Utah win?
Did
With
Utah
what's his
win?
name? No.
Nope.
With the number
No.
one pick. They lost.
Keith Van Horn.
They lost. Not Van Horn, the other guy. Andrew.
With Bogut. Yeah.
Oh, Andrew Bogut.
Andrew Bogut.
Yeah, no, they
that's
did
the one
not.
I was thinking.
They're not.
Keith
They're not
Van
the.
Horn.
They're not the 6. I think Van Horn's team made it to the Final Four though.
Was that with Majerus? Rick
Yeah.
Majerus?
Yeah.
Was that's after he
I
went
think they
to Ball
played
State,
Kentucky
okay.
in the Final Four.
Okay.
I don't think it's USC.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, not Arizona State. I can't think either of the New Mexico schools would have.
Washington? The Huskies? Oregon State? Gonzaga? Nope. They didn't win.
I'm thinking it's one of the California schools. Stanford?
There it is.
Stanford?
Stanford?
No?
No. Oh, they went with Mike Montgomery as the coach. All right, we don't know it. So Carly, come back with the answer next week. If you think you know it, go ahead and put it in the chat, YouTube chat, real quick, or send us an instant message on Instagram or Twitter at Cincy Sports Scene. All right, that was a good one. Topic of the week. Speaking of, championship games and stuff, we are talking about the greatest what ifs in Cincinnati sports history. And there's a lot of them that, we can look at and say, well, if this would have happened or if this didn't happen, how would that have changed the trajectory of, the team or the players in that instance? So we're gonna take. We probably have a lot of the same, but we're going to take a couple of them and, we'll talk about it and give our opinions of what might have happened, and hope you enjoy, the segment here. So Crawley, why don't you go ahead and start first, and the greatest what ifs.
Okay. I'll go with a Bengal one, and a pretty obvious Bengal one. What if Chemo doesn't, explicit lyrics ready, shithole Chemo doesn't break Carson Palmer's leg in 2005, his knee? What would the Bengals have done in those playoffs? Because we were pretty confident they would have beaten the Steelers, but I mean, you can never really be that confident they're going to beat the Steelers. But I mean, they were looking good. I mean, early still though. So what if for the Bengals that year, without Chemo Von stinking off and whatever, doesn't injure Carson Palmer's knee. Who won in 05? I should have looked that up.
Yeah.
Who won the Super Bowl?
I think the Steelers did. Or did
they
they
go
win
on
it
to
the year
win it?
before? I thought it was the Steelers.
look it up. 2005 Super Bowl. Patriots defeated the Eagles 24-20. Oh, no, that would have been
the 2004 season.
Yeah.
So you went the 2006 Super Bowl.
2006 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but no, it would have been 2005 if he got injured in 2005 during the playoffs.
Well, he got injured in 2006, that January.
Oh, January 6th.
It was 2000 because the NFL does the. I never know how they do the Super Bowls, by the year, since the playoffs are the next year.
Yeah.
I mean, the Steelers in February 2006 won the Super Bowl against the Seahawks 21-10.
In Detroit, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Bengals won the Super Bowl. There, that's we have it.
Yeah, and then the follow-up question to that would be, does that change the mystique moving forward against the Steelers or not? You beat them in that playoff game.
Yeah. I mean, I would, at least for the fans, it does, doesn't it? Like, because I mean, if I remember right, that regular season we beat the Steelers twice. We beat them both times, if I remember right. So I mean, it was already kind of there, but then you lose to them in the playoffs and in that fashion. I mean, for me, the bigger question is, I mean, Carson Palmer he's like the guy around here, Yeah. I don't think he leaves the way he does. I mean, he doesn't miss that next season or whatever, so. Or I don't know if he missed the next season. I actually don't know that he did. I think he was back in time still. But
I think
I think he's
did.
Did he miss the next season?
I think he missed a lot of because I think Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's when I think Ryan Fitzpatrick was the starter.
Was that his elbow when Carson had that elbow injury? I thought it was at the elbow, and that's when they had Fitzpatrick.
I just remember he missed a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, back to the question, Sam's question though. Like, I mean, that might have changed a lot of things, and maybe didn't have the 2012 debacle, or was that 2012?
Right.
Or no, later than that,
2015,
whatever it was.
2015, yeah, it was. Because I mean that probably doesn't happen because that's a little foreshadowing that's coming up on mine. So
right.
Yeah, and so I mean again the Steelers.
Hill doesn't fumble.
It's just yeah, exactly. If Hill doesn't fumble and then take it back 4 weeks earlier, if Andy Dalton doesn't break his hand against the Steelers,
Yeah, we don't even play him during the game.
Yeah, we don't even. Yeah, we get the bye.
Right.
We would have had a bye. So I mean.
So is that yours?
Yeah.
We'll go ahead.
Yeah, might as well. That'd be my first one.
Okay.
I mean, Andy. We'll start it with if Andy Dalton doesn't break his hand on a stupid shovel pass at the 2-yard line and he throws an interception to the defensive lineman, because Hugh Jackson is, oh my God, the Hugh special right there. The best
Bengals and their
offense
shovel
the Bengals
passes
ever had.
Yep.
And let's do a shovel pass. Gets picked off, and Dalton tries to tackle him, breaks his hand. And then, that leads to then facing the Steelers in the first round of the playoffs. And another what if freaking Jeremy Hill doesn't fumble the football. I mean, we beat the Steelers again.
Yeah, I had that as a what if too. That was on my list.
Yep.
I mean, after that Jeremy Hill fumble, there's like 3 more what ifs. What if Fontez Perfect just doesn't lose his head? What if the NFL officiating crew that was there had control of the game and flagged Joey Porter for starting a fight on the field as a coach? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yep. A lot of what ifs there in Cincy history.
Well, I also had Pac-Man. Pac-Man did something stupid too, didn't he?
Well, Pac-Man, he was the one who
he fought Joey Porter.
The flag. Yeah.
For fighting Joey Porter.
Right. Got the flag for that. Which, once again, if the officials would have thrown the flag on Porter, because it specifically and explicitly says no personnel can be on the field except the head coach. And Joey Porter went out there and started to push Burfict.
If I remember right, he pulled his dreads, and so then he
Yeah, right.
just reacted to that, and then he got the flag.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
So-
just typical Steelers bias with the officiating crew and all that stuff. So
And the cheap antics of
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. I mean, you
Which-
go through.
I mean,
Yeah.
People talk about the Bengals being dirty. I mean, come on,
I mean,
You
can go
can't
back through.
you can't not
You know,
mention
when
the
Kenny
Steelers
Anderson
in that
about
as
got
one of the
his
top
head
teams of
torn
all
off
time.
because Pittsburgh decided to, hey, let's grab his face mask and.
Well, I mean, with the Bengals,
how
it's
far
just
it is.
really Vontez Burfict. Other than that, I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
any Bengal has a reputation for being dirty.
True.
Whereas,
Yeah, I think
No.
it's
Yeah.
just
Well,
perfect.
Logan
plenty
Wilson
of-
now, because of the hip drop.
well, there's plenty of Steelers that
Kevin
fit into that
Huber had to
category,
eat through a
so.
straw for crying out loud because of the Steelers.
Well, that's the Hines Ward thing, and they celebrate
Yeah.
him. I mean, he's.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, he also. I mean, Keith. What was Keith Rivers? Didn't Hines Ward kill
Keith
him
Rivers,
too?
Yep. Mhm.
Yep.
All right, so we'll move on. All right, so mine. This is a one. We'll go Bengals as well. I've got what happens if Pete Johnson scores on the goal line in the '81 Super Bowl? Do we win the game, or does Montana have a miracle in them to come back and score?
Probably. Probably still.
Yeah.
You
But,
just have a
but if we-
foreshadowing of the '88 Super Bowl.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm gonna say. If it's like, okay, does that change the whole trajectory of the franchise? We win our first Super Bowl in '81. Do we beat San Francisco again then in '88? I mean, don't know. What if we can? Here's Big Pete, 4 tries from the 1 yard line and can't get it in. What if?
Yeah. I mean, they got a better chance to win if he scores than when he didn't. I mean, we can say that for sure. So
That is true.
it helps the chances of winning. So
Yeah.
was it Pete Johnson 4 times, or didn't they try to give it to Charles Alexander?
They
Or
gave it to Charles Alexander.
didn't he get one? Didn't he get? Or
Yeah,
they
he
threw
got
the
one
ball?
Try, yeah. No,
Yeah.
no. Charles Alexander
It was
got one.
Just he got a handoff. So it was 4 handoffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I
And,
thought there was
you know,
somebody beside Pete Johnson had the ball.
Yeah, Charles the Great from LSU wasn't that great. Couldn't get a
No.
yard. So yeah, and it's like, why don't you run a sweep? Why don't you run shovel pass right there, right? Force Greg. Nope, we're gonna line up. and play
Shovel
smash
pass.
now.
If you would have tried to shovel pass, it would have been intercepted and returned for a touchdown, or they would have fumbled or something goofy.
No,
Bengals
it would have been
the
a
Bengals
flag.
should never shovel pass again. No matter which team, which coaches, which players, they cannot do.
It would have been a flag in 1981 because that wasn't invented yet. No, illegal pass.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on. Carly, what's the next one?
Okay. I will go. I mean, I'll go with this one. This to me is probably the most obvious Cincinnati sport what if, and it's what if Kenya Martin doesn't break his leg in 2000. For
I thought you were gonna
UC.
say,
And,
what if Pete Rose had an interpreter?
yeah, that's true. That's a new addition.
That's a new.
Yeah.
That's a new addition. But no, I think
Same bound, baby.
I think the Kenyon Martin is the number. If I had to rank the what ifs, that's number one to me. What if Kenyon Martin doesn't break his leg? UC has a chance to. I mean, number one team in the country, number one player in the country, 2 top. What DeMar Johnson was 6th maybe in the NBA draft, something like that, 6th or 7th.
Yeah,
He
top
got
10.
2 guys in the top 10 NBA draft, which you always have to have an NBA draft lottery guy on your team. At least back then, they had 2 of them. So I mean, everything was lined up for UC to win the national championship. I mean, they were the almost the UConn type thing. So, and then once Kenyon Martin goes down and against freaking St. Louis, I mean, God, I mean, they could have beaten them without even starting any of their starting lineup. But he goes down. I think they lost that game, didn't they? Didn't they lose to St. Louis in that game? I'm almost positive after
because
Kenyon
they
Martin
didn't win
broke
the
his leg.
tournament. So yeah,
Yeah, I think they
were
lost that
limping.
game.
No pun intended. They were limping into the tournament.
Yeah,
So
and then they won. I think they won their first game in pretty standard Bob Huggins form. They lost in the round of 32. I think he led the country in that as a coach. So, but yeah, to me, that's a never get over as a UC player.
Yeah, and I don't know what the draw. I can't remember the draw where they were. Who would they have faced? Moving in. Were they the number 1 overall seed, or did they get bumped down?
They got bumped. They were. I'm almost positive they were not.
Yeah, I think because of the injury, I think they got bumped down. So then they become the number 1 overall seed. They'd be still in the Midwest, but I just don't know what the bracket looked like. I can't remember if who they lost to and who would they have eventually played, and because that was what year was that?
2000.
2000.
So Michigan State must have won. Michigan State must have won it that year.
Yeah,
because they were the last
Big Ten
team to win a.
Yeah, right.
I'm trying to pull it up real quick. Cincinnati. Well, they weren't even. They were a 2 seed that year. They weren't even a 1 seed. Period.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So the injury must have really.
So they played Tulsa, and they ended up losing to Tulsa in the second round. It was a 7 seed. So. Yep.
All right. Yeah, maybe Bob has a national championship, and then good Lord.
Maybe. I mean, he's still Bob Huggins in March, so it's no given. But
right. All right. What's your next one, son?
Yeah. Well, real quick, fun fact about Kenyon Martin: he's the last 4-year college player to be drafted number 1 overall. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
Oh, you should have saved that one for a good trivia question.
Yeah, I could have saved that for an NBA draft trivia question. But yeah, that's a little fun fact there. So
that's a good one.
It's been 24 years since a senior's been the number 1 overall pick, and it'll probably never happen again. So
you're right.
A bit of nostalgia there. So mine, it's actually kind of more of a fun one, I guess you could say. But what if the Reds didn't trade Josh Hamilton for Edinson Volquez? So, I mean, you look in the immediate aftermath, Volquez had a pretty good year that first year, but then after that, I mean, he was kind of negative. Whereas Josh Hamilton, I think, won 2 MVPs. And, I mean, that 2010 year, he had like 350. He would have been... Yep. I mean, you'd have had Votto, who was an MVP, and I think Hamilton was the AL MVP. You'd have had them both on the same roster. I don't think you get no hit by Roy Halladay. Maybe you beat the Phillies. But, I mean, you just kind of have him moving forward for those early 2010 teams that seemed like they were just a bat away from really being contenders.
Wasn't, well, I'll tell you what would happen. Griffey would have probably quit, or he would have demanded.
Well, Griffey was in right field at that time anyways. So.
Yeah, but he demanded, they didn't like Hamilton. They didn't like his special, Jerry Nairn's brother.
The babysitter.
Yeah. The babysitter.
Johnny. What is Johnny Nairn?
Johnny or something like that. Yeah. They didn't like that at all. And him and Dunn, they didn't like this upshot, hey, why is he? So yeah. And the whole
I mean, Griffey was
Josh Hamilton.
Well, Griffey wasn't around much longer, was he?
He get traded.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he got traded that trade deadline.
2010, he wasn't there anymore. He wasn't on that playoff team 2010, I don't think.
No, he wasn't. Neither was Dunn.
He wasn't.
So.
No, but they were the ones because when did Hamilton come up?
2008.
Yeah, 8.
He played 2008, and then they traded him in 2009.
Yeah, they traded
before
they traded him in the off season.
Yeah,
it was in the off season.
It was in the off season.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Griffey and Dunn were gone.
Yeah, and Griffey. I don't even think Griffey was there for 2009. I think he was on the White Sox.
He got traded. I thought he got traded at the deadline. And for sure, I know he went to the White Sox, but
okay.
In 2009, you're saying?
I thought it was before the season. So I think Dunn got
Well, I know
traded
they
at the
traded
deadline
Josh
in
Hamilton
09.
first.
Yeah.
So
09. Griffey was not on the team in 09.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
He didn't have any at bats in 09. So
yeah.
the outfield,
Oh.
the primary outfield in 09 was Jay Bruce, Willie Taveras, and Lane Snicks.
Yeah. I mean, you could have used.
Yeah, you could have used Josh Hamilton with that outfield.
Yep.
Willie Taveras
Or
got
Patterson.
437 at bats.
Willie.
Yeah.
Willie.
Ooh,
I think that was the
We're talking about
start of
David Bell and
the
his
speedy center
holy
fielders.
cow.
Goodness.
Yes,
Dusty
yes.
Baker and his speedy center fielders. Batting them lead off.
Yep.
Taveras, Billy. Well, I guess
Stubbs.
Billy Hamilton wasn't. Yeah. Drew Stubbs. That's who. Yeah.
Willie
Brian
Taveras'
Price.
on base percentage was 275 on base percentage.
Corey Patterson.
That was your leadoff hitter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So
Yeah, I never thought of that. That's a good one. Yeah.
I got one. This one is, we'll talk Reds. What if the Cincinnati Reds win either the 70 or 72 World Series? Do they make the trade for Joe Morgan? And then what does that do for Morgan's career if he doesn't come to Cincinnati in 72?
I'll let Sam take
70,
the answer to that. And since this is in his
it's-
time frame, this is in
Right,
his in his yeah.
Well, if I remember right, Joe Morgan was still a good player, right, for Houston,
Yeah.
but he wasn't like a winner.
Yeah.
Right. So he
Right.
probably doesn't have the same kind of.
He was an MVP of the league.
Right. He doesn't get the recognition, but he was still a really good ball player. So I mean, he definitely would have had that to him, but I mean, he's probably not remembered in Houston the way he is in Cincinnati. He's not opening up car dealerships down there, so he probably doesn't get the. And maybe people outside of Cincinnati would have loved this, but he probably didn't get the Sunday night baseball gig. So, So what's his face who created the Fire Joe Morgan blog or whatever? Probably doesn't have a career. I can't remember the guy's name now, but he probably doesn't have a career. So there's a couple butterfly effects for that one, I guess.
Yep. All right, let's go one more each of us, and then we've got a quick game to play.
Okay. Oh, here we go. I'll go with this one. What if in 2017 the Bengals draft Patrick Mahomes instead of John Ross?
Well, they probably have a Super Bowl or two. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. You got
one pick from each other.
Yep.
You've got you got Marvin leading.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes' development is he had the same development under the Bengals coaching staff.
Right.
You
got beat Andy.
that coaching staff probably
Red
not. Yeah.
I mean, who was the coordinator? Bob Bratkowski or something? Then I don't know who it was by that point.
Was it? You sure
Or
was
Hugh, or was it Hugh Jackson?
Hugh
or somebody else?
Back for a second. Second.
Yeah, Hugh might have been
tenure?
back for like the
Second tenure, something.
I mean, you have Andy Dalton. You could have started him. They could have done the same thing that Alex Smith. You have Andy Dalton start for another season. It was,
Right.
I don't know. I don't think they were any good the following year, the 2017 season. I think they went in the tank by then. But get at least sat for a year under, sitting behind a decent quarterback. So
Well, that's what they did with Palmer. They
right.
sat him a year.
With John
Kitna. Yeah. So,
But
that's probably the plan.
The thing here is by that point, AJ Green was kind of injury prone. He was always injured. So, I mean, who's Mahomes throwing to? There's no Tyreek Hill. There's no Travis Kelce that he's throwing to.
Yeah, you need. I mean, at that point, they had two good receivers.
At that point,
the Chiefs did.
Yeah,
right.
So I don't know who would have been. I mean, AJ Green on
Jr.,
paper, but
right?
I think Marvin Jones Jr. was gone by then.
Was he?
I think him and Sanu had left that 2016 offseason.
Hmm.
So I mean, I think Eifert was around, but Eifert, that's an injury-prone guy. It's not somebody.
He only had the one good year.
Yeah.
Right.
So, the one where he had all the touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that was they could have had him. You know, and they had one of the worst picks they've ever had. The first pick of the draft. You know, not first pick of the draft, but their first pick in their draft
Right.
was.
Yeah.
You know, John Ross is a top 5 all-time worst number 1 pick. So.
Yeah. Did you see? Talking about Bengals and picks, did you see Lance McAllister's on this date? I think it was Friday. He put it out there when the Bengals had like the number 1 overall pick in the 83 or 84 draft, and they were in negotiations with Steve Young to draft him number 1 overall for $3.5 million over 4 years, and Young turned him down. Said no, so he went to the USFL where he got like $40 million from Donald Trump and the generals there, So the Bengals traded that pick and they got 3 first-round picks, and Ricky Hundley was their number 1 pick from Arizona,
Ricky Hundley.
linebacker. And
Yeah,
he never
did nothing.
signed with the Bengals. Yeah. So you had Brian Blados and Benny. I can't remember who the cornerback was. It was like last round and one of the last picks in the first round. So yeah, they could. Steve Young could have been walking around instead of Boomer.
Yeah, I mean, Boomer is good though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not like we had nothing.
Well, Steve Young was pretty good.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
You know. All right. That was just a little sidebar. So Sam, you got your next one?
Yeah, so it's another UC basketball one here, but what if, I think it was 2017, they don't blow that 20-plus point lead to Nevada in the second round of the tournament? Kind of how far do they, or was it the Sweet 16?
No, they lost
32.
It
was 32.
Yeah, I think it was around 32. Oh, you're saying they lose in the Sweet 16?
They'll lose in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, because I mean,
I think Nevada won another game. I think they made the Elite 8 that year.
I thought they made the Final Four. Or was it just the Elite 8?
I think
the Elite 8.
I think it's Elite 8.
Yeah, no, because Loyola Chicago made the Final Four that year.
They had those twins.
The Martin twins.
The Martin twins. Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
I mean, that was wide open.
Yeah, so I mean, that was Mick Cronin's best team at UC. So I mean, that loss honestly kind of ran him out of town.
Well, yeah.
No,
it was
but,
time.
I mean, that was their best outside shooting team. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and I mean, I think that loss kind of sent Mick Cronin out west. I think that was, but then UC gets stuck with John Brannon, which set them back,
they're still recovering
quite a bit. Yeah, they still have
5 years, at least 5 years.
Yeah. So kind of a what if there,
All right, my last.
I'm looking while you're doing yours, Dave. I'll look at that bracket that you can go. But
okay, yeah. It's like, what if the Reds drafted Derek Jeter in '92 instead of Chad Mulata?
Derek Jeter's a career second baseman, like he should have been.
He's
not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
he's playing second base for the Reds because Barry Larkin is still our shortstop, right? Yeah, so they drafted Chad Mulata 7th or 6th, and the Yankees drafted Jeter 7th. So
I mean, honestly, Jeter probably didn't sign for the Reds because he's kind of a tool, so he probably sees Larkin there. How he wanted to be a shortstop, so.
Well, and he wanted to be a Yankee too, so.
Yeah, so I mean, he probably wouldn't have even signed. So.
Yeah, he probably would have went college.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe.
All depends on the money they would have offered him.
Right. Yeah, because the next year the Reds signed Pokey Reese.
So yeah, I mean, maybe Derek Jeter's a utility player. So.
Yeah, Dusty would have used him in center field or somewhere. Who knows?
With that arm, oh man, it would have been an adventure. Even in Great American Small Park, he did 3-hop the cutoff, man.
So that is our what ifs. I know there's a lot more out there. I had Crum Rye didn't break his ankle in the Super Bowl. What if that one? But I know there's
what if more. Logan Wilson's not called for holding or whatever he was called for.
The Phantom holding.
Yep.
The Phantom holding.
I had one. I was going to throw this. My next one would have been what if Johnny Cueto wouldn't hurt his oblique 6 pitches into the 2012 first game of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
The Reds were the best team that year.
They were the best team that year, and but
Well,
I mean, it changes the whole dynamic of that series because you'd have Johnny Cueto starting either game 4 or 5, with Matt Lato starting the other one, as opposed to Mike Leake, who hadn't pitched for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well,
it threw off their whole rotation because they weren't planning on using Leake as a starter that year. They were just going to have
him in the playoffs.
Yeah,
not in the playoffs. Yeah.
So
they were just going to a
4-man,
3 to 4-man.
Yeah.
Yep.
See,
All
I mean, that threw that off. Well, shoot, you could say, what if Cueto didn't get spooked in Pittsburgh in that wild card game? I mean,
what if Marlon Byrd would have showed up like he did against the
Marlon
Reds,
Byrd.
the year before? Instead he strikes out 4 times in Pittsburgh. So yeah, whatever. Oh well. All right, we're moving on here. We got a little game real quick. It's called Who Am I? So I came up with 3 players. They're all have some sort of Cincinnati reference. There could be current players, could be former players. So I'm going to give you a question, and you get only 3 guesses. So there's 10 questions. You have to see if you can guess it between first question and the last question, and each of you only get 3 guesses. So if you should make sure if you want to take a guess at it, but each of you only get 3, and the first one to win 2 out of 3 wins the game. So you guys ready?
Yep.
All right. So the first one is I played football.
All right. Next question.
Boomer Esiason.
Right. No, that's your one guess. You only got 2 more.
Oh, well.
All right. When I was in college, I also played baseball.
Next question.
Next question. I was cast as Gonzalez in the 1983 movie The Right Stuff.
No clue.
Yeah, no idea.
All right.
That doesn't help me at all.
I was an offensive player in the NFL.
Anthony Munoz.
Ding, 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 ding,
All right.
ding.
Yeah. Is this all? I missed some of it. Maybe is this all Cincinnati people?
They're Cincinnati related. Yes. They
Okay.
Played for.
Okay, I missed that part. I was thinking Bo Jackson. So.
Yeah. So that's good. My other clues would have been, I was drafted 3rd overall by the Bengals. I caught 4 TDs in my career. I played in 2 Super Bowls. I went to USC. I was named the NFL 75th anniversary All Team, and I was elected into the NFL Hall of Fame as a Bengal. So yeah, Anthony Munoz. All right, Sam's got 1. So Carly, you got to win this one. Baseball is my sport that I'm most famous for.
All right.
Okay, next question. I played 12 seasons in Major League Baseball.
I guess.
I have played for 6 different teams in my career.
There's a lot of Reds that did that.
Yep.
I am married to a former Playboy Playmate, Miss October of 1998.
Nope. I don't have one yet.
I am an infielder by trade.
Nope.
Question number 6. I hit the last home run in Riverfront Stadium.
I did not know that. That's a good bit of trivia right there. I'm going to use a guess. I'm going to say Pokey Reese.
No.
No.
That's your first guess. Carl, you going to use a guess here?
No,
We have
not
3 more
yet.
questions
So,
left.
yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I get a sense of time now, but
Yeah.
I don't have a guess yet.
I am one of 6 Major League Baseball sons that my father was also a manager.
Brett Boone.
No.
Aaron Boone.
Aaron Boone is correct.
Aaron Boone is married to a Playboy playmate.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
No, I had no idea he was. That's why I didn't guess that, because I would have thought I would have known that.
Yep. So that was it. And then the other ones is I'm a 3rd generation baseball player. I played with my brother, and I hit the game-winning home run in Game 7 of the wild card series against the Red Sox. So Aaron Boone. So Sam takes both of those. So I'll save the 3rd one for if we ever play this again.
You want to save it? I can do it. Or we can save it. I guess your call.
I'll save it.
All
I'll
right.
save it. We'll save it. So since we're already at an hour and 5 minutes here, so our listeners are probably getting bored with us. So we want to move on. Until next week, we are actually going to be off next week. I'm going to be out in Colorado visiting my daughter. We'll be on a plane coming back, so we won't be able to do the show next Sunday. So we will be coming to you live on April 21st. If you're following us on YouTube, but around 3:00 there. And if you're listening on, a podcast, we'll drop the episode later that night. So we'll be out there in your feeds when you wake up on Monday morning. But our topic for that will be the NFL draft. They draft that Thursday, and we are going to have we're going to do a mock draft simulator game, and each of us are going to be the GM, and we're going to run through our scenarios, and we'll see who comes up with the best draft, and we'll put it out there for a vote. So in 2 weeks, that's what we're going to be doing. You guys got anything to add before we sign off here?
Nope. We have a Reds update. Did they win, lose?
Still 3-1, top of the 9th. So Farmers pitching. I mean, I haven't heard anything. I haven't been listening to it. I just been watching. So the Reds, I mean, again, they haven't hit a lick this game.
Hey, your boy Espanol drives in a run.
Not enough. That was the inning they had that was the inning they had the bases loaded with nobody out.
Nobody out.
And he sack flied and then double play in by Bubba Thompson.
Oh, he's got them hitting back to back.
Yeah.
That's a 1-2 punch right there. Goodness.
Oh, it's just a waste of a roster spot too. So I mean, come on. Yeah, it's going to the bottom of the 9th now. Edwin Diaz is warming up, obviously. So
great. All right.
Fredo can't get here fast enough. So
2 weeks from now, we will see you. So until then, take care.
Actually, real quick, who do you guys have in the Masters since we won't be here?
You
got picks? Got picks?
I do not.
Who do you got? You got Tiger?
Well, I mean, I always have Tiger, but I'm going John Rahm as, if I was putting money down, I'd go John Rahm.
Live guys are
go back to back.
That's right.
Yep.
That's a good one. Yep. I'll go with Jordan Spieth. I think Jordan's gonna make his move again. We'll see. You got anybody, Crawley?
Nope.
Jack Nicklaus. So,
yeah.
Bring back Jack.
I'll take him.
He might. Yep, that would be a good one. All right, until April 21st. For Charlie and Sam, I'm Dave. Everybody take care. Have a great week.
See ya.
Take care.